Good morning, my friends. This is Rick, and I am Rick, and this is your seat at the table. Right? We are looking at Forest of Tears, playable with Merp and Rollmaster. This is a role-playing adventure module from J.R.R. Tolkien's Middle Earth. Now, this is one set in the South, based on the Hobbit. Someone draws adventures from the mysterious Sousa Summer, rainforest thriving in the desert sands, the Honnin, a hidden people related to the woes of the Erd numerous, dwell between the boles of the great trees, harvesting the forest's bounty, and zealously guarding their secrecy. Despite their caution, the Dark Lord's schemes may soon boil out of the Forest of Tears to overrun all the Far Herod. This module links with the I.C.E. Warlords of Adventure module and the Far Herod campaign module. And I ran this in some variant a couple times. It was medium success. And it wasn't because there was anything wrong with the game system. The group I had was in flux at the time. And so we got our guidelines, definitions, our modification for converting stats and so on for different game systems, our player characters, introducing the Honnin culture, their history, social structure, their religion, power and politics amongst the tribe. So when the folk now reside in the city of J.R.R. first crossed the Yellow Mountains and the wilds of the southern deserts, the land they came into was not uninhabited. Found an ancient people called themselves the Honnin, living in a small village at the bend of the Radasha. Newcomers were welcomed by these small, ruddy-skinned men, and all lived peacefully together for some generations. A few blah blah blah. So. Says here, unlike their neighbors outside the wood, the Honnin are not at all warlike. They do not have weapons used for, though they do have weapons used in hunting, which can easily be turned to combat. The only men who give the thought to such a use are the ceremonial guards that are attached to some holy sites and temples. Even there, they trained for war they have for generations. Real conflict is rare, so most of these men, small men, have no idea what it would be like. The economy, other cultural traits, magic among the Honnin, the avian ways. Something about their particular magic beliefs is related to the birds and bird flora and lore and bird-like attributes. So we're talking things like silence birds, call birds, bird tongues, cloaking, fly, bird shape 1, bird shape 2, call birds 2, so on and so forth. So it allows them to read birds, bird sight, commune true. Followers of the Morkan were given themselves a master callings, includes calm, spirits, nature's lore, movement, plant. Think of a lot of druids in a druidic-based religion, so a lot of types of druids and nature-based cleric powers as opposed to sorceress powers. The hidden shrine, tales of herb seller stuff. So the land of Far Herod is home to a great many wonders. The face of the region seems to be a study in extremes. The wood rises up from the baked terrain like a misplaced piece of more sunlit jungle, a true rainforest, etc., etc. So we got the tale of the herb seller's footpath, the NPCs involved, the setting, traps along the path. Excuse me. Shrine, hidden shrine, stats. So here's the task. In this venture, players are faced with simple enough task. They must follow the trail or return of his men and try to discover the root of the wealthy herbalist's troubles. If all goes well, this will be compounded by the more pressing task of keeping body and soul together. For a party of young adventurers, this should prove challenging enough to make the rewards they reap seem well earned. Starting the player should be started in the Dara once they have been contacted by Eterna or his agents. The price has been negotiated. They will be given information. So basically, the Eterna is this seller of herbs and rare plants, and so he has people who goes out into the forest to gather and harvest, including one of them was his son, and they went missing. People died, and his son is the guards are accused of killing his son, etc., etc. So we got encounters, rewards, Tales that come with our omelet. So we come into the next round. Turk of the Birdman. Among the people of the far heritage has always been the fanciful tales of foresters that were put down with nothing more than a superstition. The stories told by the aunts and veteran foresters and taverns place all manner of sprites and demons in the wood, wanting to do mischief on the poor man who should stumble upon them. One of the most terrible of these is the tale of Tika the Birdman, a flying man-shaped monster who hunts for the heads of folk who linger too long on the paths of the forest. The adventure of the Tower of Birds centers on the kernel of truth from which this legend was built. Tales of Corn's Amulet. The Citizens, Tika the Birdman. This is actually a pretty tragic figure, this fellow. He's been morphed into this, what you see, and he has none of the human mindset. He's all bird, and with all that goes with being a predatory type of bird to boot. So, it's kind of a tragedy in some tasks. The challenge to the players will be relatively uncomplicated. Slaying the Tower of the Birds, put it into Tika's marauding if they can. The jungle tracking the actual mission into the tower. This should provide a challenging session of play and will leave the players feeling that they have earned up each piece of treasure they managed to acquire. Achieving their mission, the players will be faced with two serious obstacles. The first will be the wood itself. To win their way to the Tower of Birds will require they overcome the natural dangers that are so common in the forest. Beyond these, they will meet the Honnin, the Tavari, and the Birdman himself, which prove to be all the challenging the adventurers could want. Alright. Temple of the Temple City of Pred. Society of Honnin centers in a city of a great beauty deep in the forest of trees, although only a few small men live within its bounds. Temples are buildings that each draw each of the gentlemen of the city every few months. Earthly manifestation their gods reside in these great buildings of white stone, and the city is home to spectacles, ritual, and ceremonies throughout the year. Visitors from across the wood join the monks who live in this holy place to take part in the worship of their gods. The tale of Oricam is the Honnin god that ensures success of men that forage among the trees for food and herbs. NPCs, Matcham the Renegade, Ergasi, Anaku, Shebanver, the Ring of Skeleton Shoal, Gilfring, Silver and Steel passed down through near Harridan followers. Gives the wearer complete protection from disease and infection, does not have any power to cure any illness already contracted. That'd be nice. A nifty little ring, keep you from getting sick. The city of Pred itself, wonderful city built the downing of the Honnin golden age. In the years of the Absecal speaking, the Harridan passed them into the world. It's a capital religious center of their race. Cities constructed all the industry and skill that they possess. They, however, is somewhat less grand. Their culture has declined. Men of the wood have continued to maintain the streets and buildings the best they can, but this means not only that they keep the jungle from reclaiming a land which they now see as holy. No Honnin have any skill left to build new temples or even repair the old for many generations, etc., etc. Details, temples, details of the temple. Vicious chambers, priest chambers, high priest's office, treasury, storerooms, more storerooms. The task. PCs in this adventure will be faced with challenging tasks. They will be required to make a dangerous trek through the miles of the forest of tears before ever setting foot in Pred. Once they reach the city, they will have to face an order of Marikam and the goddess herself and best them to free the Honnin from their troubles. Such a mission should be daunting, even powerful to a band of characters. So the obstacles. Standing in the player's way will be two main obstacles. First, they will come the challenge of force itself, making their way, etc., etc. The numerous natural dangers and perhaps roving Honnin hunters as well. In the city, they will be faced by the Honnin of Marikam and the near Harridan Burr. All told, they should be proved enough to make any group of PCs feel they earned their way. Blah blah blah. Counters, etc. So it's kind of straightforward. I mean, there's a lot of little detailed things in there, but for the most part, your group is sent out to this thing, kind of gets this guy, who's really a tragic figure, and put it into his marauding and get some measure of closure for the father of this poor guy who just lost his head. And then later you go in further depth to discover why this person became it's magic the way he was, and put a stop to that too, and in the process helping free the Honnin, the native woes of the forest from a dark sorceress bent mindset, which is typical of Merp and Lord of the Rings. So it's not a bad little module, and once again, if you get a chance to see it, make good use of it, knock yourself out. Until next time, this is Rick, and you have a great weekend.